I have a scary story I will share that is 100% true. So my friend and her husband bought a 1920s arts and crafts style cottage and spent a year or so fixing it up and did a pretty damn good job. The house was beautiful, immaculate, and still cozy and homey. She asked me if I'd be willing to house and pet sit for a few weeks, and I agreed, looking forward to pretending the house was mine for a while. She took me on a walkthrough, and I noticed that the attic door was not only locked, there were several boxes of books piled up against it. When I commented, she said the cats were at the door constantly. BC, there were bats in the attic. I asked jokingly if the house was haunted. She laughed and said no, she didn't believe in ghosts anyway. A few nights into my stay, I started having weird dreams and waking up to the sensation of not being alone. I started hearing noises coming from the attic, not footsteps, more like subtle bumping and dragging noises. I called friend she sent her dad over to investigate and said again that it was bats. The noise creeped me out, so I asked my boyfriend to stay with me. The first night he woke me and said that he saw someone standing in the hall outside the bedroom. Of course, no one was in the house, and he thought maybe he was dreaming. The second night we both heard the sounds coming from the attic. We decided to spend the rest of the night sleeping on the couches in the family room. It was then that I saw the black orbs like what you'd see in a picture when someone points out orbs. I watched these translucent blackish bubbles move around the room. I decided to cat sit during the day but not sleep there, as the house was giving me the creeps big time. The second to last day I went in the late afternoon after work to feed the cats and spend a little time with them. I had had a long day and I dropped off into sleep on the couch. When I woke, it was dark outside. I sat up feeling that disoriented feeling you get when you nap. From my seat on the couch, I could see a picture that was on the wall of a short hallway connecting the front foyer to the kitchen. The picture glass reflected the kitchen. I looked at the picture and saw what looked like a man standing in the kitchen, motionless. His stillness was totally unnatural. I could see that even in a reflection. Like he was a cutout of a person. His eyes were just two black holes. I had the misfortune of making eye contact with this thing that was in there. I knew instantly that it was looking at me. The second I made eye contact, I felt an overwhelming sensation of revulsion and absolute abject fear. I'm talking a primitive, nausea-inducing horror. My skin literally started crawling, my heart started racing. I had to get the frick out, and I mean immediately. The air felt electrified. The figure in the kitchen was not visible anymore, but it was definitely not gone. I felt certain that if it appeared to me again, I would never get over it. Thank God my purse and shoes were with me. I grabbed my stuff without putting my shoes on and bolted for the door. Turning my back on the kitchen to open the door was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I knew it was behind me. At this point I was shaking. I leapt out the door and pulled it closed, but I still had to lock the door. I fumbled and dropped the keys, and as I bent to pick them up, I became sure that the thing was standing right there, behind the big pane of beveled glass that made up the top half of the door. So I closed my eyes and locked the door with my eyes shut tight, and then I ran to my car and drove away as fast as I could without looking back at the house so I wouldn't see what was looking out at me. I called my friend's mom and told her I couldn't finish as I was sick, so asked no more questions. A few months after this, my friend had a baby, and a month after that, my friend abruptly put the house up and moved out before it sold. This had been her and her husband's dream house. They sunk everything into it. It was her trophy. I couldn't believe it. I asked her what happened. She only said that they had to get out.